San Diego and doing about a 3-week training block, about 28 days. Just really focused. You know, we're not focusing really on super high volume, but the quality it feels like super high volume.
So Ben and I uses the Stryd power meter just about for every single run. We're not always using power to guide the workouts. In fact, I would say we only do that for maybe about 15% of the workouts that we do, using power as a guide. However, we use it sometimes as a pacing tool, a governor for him on some tempo runs. He's not allowed to go over a certain wattage. And we find that really helps him stay in control and not fatigue himself too much for the next day and the next few workouts that follow.
I've been dragging around an Aussie everywhere lately. He's like a little puppy dog. You can't shake him. Now that Ryan's been out here for the 3 weeks doing some training with me, so I do a lot of training on my own, and Ryan does too. We kind of mix it up with a few people, but it's been good to have a training partner for a few weeks.
18, 19, 20, perfect. So here they're having to come almost like a dead straight turnaround against stopping, restarting their mass. Even though it's easy, it's still it adds up over time. 18, 19, go. To go this 126 meter stretch, and then they have 20 seconds to go their turnaround point, which is chalked on the ground, come back to here, dead stop, start another 20 seconds. So it's this constant flux and surge. And this has been a big thing that we've noticed Ben's kind of weekend. So I've kind of seeked out some guidance from some experts, and Bobby McGee was one of them, and this was a big one for him. And the exact measurements are actually specific to Ben and kind of where he's at in his fitness. So that's why I'm joking. If it's getting easier, it's time to change it. So kind of funny. He's like, hey, this is hard, but now he's a second faster. He's doing these mostly in 19 seconds instead of 20. So this acceleration from a dead stop into his maximum aerobic velocity kind of also acts like a plyometric movement in some ways. This acceleration he's having to force. So one of the things we'll use with the Stryd maybe is to, especially just track to see his fitness difference, will be his leg spring stiffness in this workout compared to the last one we did as well. So what were the power numbers that he was hitting also in the 20 seconds? It's a little tough sometimes to tell. If you just go by speed in a workout like this, you can't necessarily tell. Maybe the power got lower and he's still holding 20 seconds. That's really good as well. 15, 16, 17, 18. Man, getting faster. Good. I don't know that we need to be faster, but I guess we need to lengthen this.
Good job, bud. Fresh new Madone. Okay. Oh, this is the hardest part. There's Mark does a good job packing it. He doesn't mess around. Ooh, those are sweet. Okay, day yesterday. Man, I have a hard time figuring out what we did this morning. Yesterday we did a run workout in the morning, and actually yesterday and today are very similar. So we do something where it's high-end power, really short, high-intensity efforts into more of like a tempo threshold type session to work on VO2 kinetics, which is basically how you hold your form at like your peak pace. So it's really important as you get to the back end of a 5K, 10K, half marathon, etc., in holding your form so that you don't completely fall apart, which in the past I've been known to do. It's like I could run really well until I don't, and then everything falls apart. So yesterday was a few sets of 2020s, 3x6 minute, and then into 2x8 minutes at more of like a tempo, maybe into the threshold range. Then we had an easy 2-hour ride after that, 2.5-hour ride actually, flush out the legs, get a bit of fatigue in them, get in some hours. And pretty soon after that, we had a hard evening swim, late afternoon swim to finish it off, which was a lot of sub-race pace, hundreds, and it's short course yards, but like hundreds on the 60 seconds and into like some 300s at the interval leaving off on what maybe like my half Ironman pace would be, and just kind of trying to roll through best effort or best average for those 2 sets. So that was a big day yesterday.
257.9, very good. So 3 flat, 259, 257, basically 258 for round 1. Very good, dude. You're rolling well, dude. You're even getting faster. We're leaving on the 05.
I'm out in San Diego right now to do a bit of a training camp with Jim, my coach, and that is something that we've started doing in the past year and a half, just to kind of check up. It's good to get some focused work done with your coach, and I find that pretty valuable. And usually we try and time it before an important race or race block, and this time it's for a pretty important race block. I guess kind of sets me up for the summer, and it's starting off with Escape from Alcatraz on June 3rd. So that's the first big one, and yeah, I mean, I think the training's going really well. With Jim, I've seen a steady progression, and this camp has been no different. So I feel like I'm making some good gains in the run, and the swim and bike are pretty much at some of their best levels they've been at in the past few years as well.
With Ben this year, we're making a bigger emphasis and focus on Tokyo 2020, and especially trying to make the mixed relay. So getting Ben to be more of a miler, 2K runner, track racer has become more of the focus. Higher intensity, shorter duration. It's a lot different than in triathlon, where most people are training for Ironman, marathon, and half marathons off the bike, or even in Olympic distance with 10K. We're going away from that. We're over here. And so I'm seeing a lot of insight in terms of how Ben is neurologically, gaining fitness, not just in his times, but in his power outputs, his leg spring stiffness. That's a biomechanical improvement. So there's so much that we're seeing, and I think Ben's improvement this year and how we're measuring training load with power and measuring training response to know if we're doing the right things or not is helping guide us to new levels. We've identified the metrics that are important to Ben's goals, and we're tracking those metrics. And as long as we continue to see those improve, we know we're doing training right. I've said for the longest time that if you're not collecting data, then you're really not looking for any accountability in what you're doing. Power helps give coaches and athletes accountability on what they're doing. What we're really all trying to do is out-better each other. Ben is trying to out-better his competitors in training. Data is the ingredient for better, and Stryd provides the data that allows us to train better.
Yeah, so like I said, today is very similar to yesterday, but it's just a run and a ride, so no swim. The run this morning, very power oriented at the beginning, 6 by 30 seconds on a hill with 4 minutes and 30 seconds rest in between each one. And after that last rep, we went straight into 6 by 4 minutes, basically holding best average. So I started off quick but somewhat conservative, and then just worked my way down from there. Had a bit of a break, able to have some lunch, get some recovery in, answer some emails, and then this afternoon, late afternoon, we're going to do a very power-oriented bike, maybe even into threshold with how long we're going, but it's 2 sets through of 8 by 2 minutes, pretty much all out. It's on a hill, so it's hill rep workout, and we're gonna kind of see how it goes. There's a lot of fatigue in the legs, so there's an option about around number 12 to see if how those last 4 kind of go, but we're just gonna kind of go out there and give it a good shot and basically get the effort in. Yeah, so we're gonna finish up the ride, then it's into a rest day, and 2 more days of the camp then this weekend on Saturday and part of Sunday, and I'll drive back to Phoenix, where I'll be for about 5 days before I head to San Francisco for Escape from Alcatraz. And yeah, then that's into kind of a big racing block with some IT races, some Olympic non-draft races. And you know, the big goal, or at least one of the big goals for the year, is to win the Half Ironman World Championships. And along with that, I want to be one of the main contenders for the mixed relay spot for the US team as they, you know, try and race for a world championship and into Tokyo 2020.
Thank you.